Well, writing is a lonely business, they say. Well, I'd like to challenge that and write with you all and see how far we can come. Today, I would like to look at a tiny bit of what I did last time. That was last Friday, which was, to say, eventful. And hopefully today we will have a longer live stream than last Friday. And perhaps the Inky Winged Beats can share some gossip with us. I have no idea. I mean, that's what you get if you are a discovery writer. You just don't know what you're gonna get. Hopefully they can give us some gossip. And even better, just some real news about what the heck is going on in Tergaenae. Because a lot is happening, a lot has happened, but I haven't been able to tell you guys all about it. So hopefully we will get the approval of the Tergaenae High Council, but we'll have to see. And otherwise, I think the Inky Winged Beats might just find a way to get through that and to, I don't know, share some gossip. Hi, Fedina, welcome. It's good to see you. It's great to have you here. I hope we can make a very productive evening again today. I was just going over what my plan is for today. After looking at the previous live stream for a very little bit, and we will do several word sprints. And for those who haven't joined me earlier, I do word sprints of 25 minutes, and it's called the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of sprinting, and then we have a break to look at what has... to look at the results of the sprint, I have to say, and to see if anyone has questions about writing, about world building, or other things, and then we go on again. And one other thing that I would like to look at is NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month. It's now just over a month away. It starts at November 1st, for those who don't know. And that means that Preptober is around the corner. That starts, if I am correct, let me check that for a moment. Right, that starts next Sunday. And Preptober, what that is, that is something I will explain in the NaNoWriMo break when we look at that. So, who am I? My name is Ilse. I am a dragon riding, magic wielding creator of worlds, and in this case, it's the world of Tergaenae, a completely high fantasy world that is absolutely not Earth. And I like it. It gives me the freedom to basically do what I want and to discover what I need to write my story. And that's a fun thing to do. So what happened in the last live stream in last Friday? Well, you know, I'm a game designer as well. And in the last 2 weeks, a lot has happened in the game industry's world, considering the change in the pricing system that Unity has. And last Friday they announced a new revised pricing system compared to the pricing system they announced Tuesday 2 weeks ago, to be exactly 2 weeks ago. And they had a live stream, well, not on the Unity channel, but on one of the game developers who also has a channel here on YouTube, Jason Wyman, and the CEO, I don't know his official title, Mark Whitten. He was interviewed by Jason Wyman, and I thought it was important enough to cut short my live stream of writing, because there was important news, and I was glad that I joined that. What that news exactly was is something I will go into in a later video on my studio channel. I'm currently finishing it up. I will look at, for those who are interested, one of the things I will look at in that video is why I use a game engine in world building. I mean, if you're a game dev, then it's logical, but why would I use it as an author or as a tabletop role-playing game master, dungeon master? And I think it can help, and I will explain that in the other video that will be on my YouTube channel, or on my studio channel, I have to say it correctly, and that will be linked somewhere here. I don't know exactly where. In the future, once I have finished it. And I will also look at the new pricing system, what it means to several groups of game designers and other world creators, and what it means for me personally and the choices I made. And that is all because of what they announced last Friday. And if I look at what I did for Tergaenae, what I did for my background story for Nejat and Nejat, well, it wasn't that much that I could actually reveal. I do know that, or well, I have to say it properly, I can tell you I've gotten permission from the Tergaenae High Council. I can tell you that once predators start running in complete fear of what is in that forest somewhere, then yeah, you might, I don't know, have some fear yourself. And be very careful moving forward to see what you will encounter. And be prepared. I mean, that is very, very important. And that is where I left off. So now I hope that tonight I will be able to discover who the thugs are, or at least discover some of them. Say that that Nejat and his dragon companions, his other dragon companions, can save the flutter nymph family. And hopefully, well, that was the original plan, was to move them into the ancient forest. And of course, it's ancient magic. So the question is, who can handle that? It stands to reason that the dragon companions at least can handle that, because the dragons have ancient magic. So the dragon companions are at least kind of used to dealing with ancient magic. But what they will find in the forest, well, that might be a whole different ball game. Of course, the flutter nymphs, the flutter nymphs also have ancient magic, so they will feel at ease in the ancient forest. The flutter nymph that is with Nejat at the moment already told him that they are at ease in the ancient forest, and that is also why Nejat made a decision to move that flutter nymph and her family to the ancient forest for safety. The question, of course, is now. Questions are, I have to be exact. What the heck is that magical device? Because that is something that has become clear. There is some kind of magical device, and they don't know exactly what it is. But I mean, when predators start running scared, yeah, that it means it's not good. So what the heck is it? Who are they really dealing with, because that is still really unclear. And in what state will they find the family of the flutter nymph? I mean, are they all injured in some way? Do they have? Are they? Do they have a serious lack of food or drink, or I don't know, name it. And I mean, somehow these thugs were able to, how shall I say that? Were able to threaten those flutter nymphs in such a way that the flutter nymphs cooperated with them. While the flutter nymphs are very hard to even see for the commoner's eye and to spot unless they want you to see them. So that's the big question. How on earth did those thugs do that? And I hope to find some answers to at least a few questions today. I don't expect to find answers on all my questions. I have a feeling that there are people in the background that we don't see yet, and that we might not see for a long time, that we even might not see until way later in the main books, who are actually pulling the strings, in this case, the strings of the thugs. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's a challenging thing. So, Fedina, how have you been? How did you manage to write anything in the last days, in the last week? Like I said, last Friday I didn't manage to write anything, and since then I've been working on the video that I will release hopefully by the end of this week, more probably in the weekend. And so I haven't had time to write. That doesn't mean, however, that my mind hasn't been working overtime, because right now, these last days, my brain has been working really overtime. So I discovered 2 new things, and new parts of the future books, and those are scenes that will be important, and they keep evolving in the back of my head. And it's interesting to see where it will go, where those scenes will go. At the same time, the things I have found in those 2 scenes that so far have only been developing in the back of my head, those are things that I need to research more in this background story. I need to find out a few things that are particular for Nejat and Nejat. And hopefully, by the time this background story is done, I will have answers to that, and I will have more information to certain things that happened in those 2 scenes. So that will be fun to see if I can indeed manage that. And I have discovered I won't say a new part or new concept of magic in the story. It's more in addition to a concept I already discovered. I cannot say anything about that yet. I haven't had permission for that. So I don't know. It's a bit harder to tell. It's also something that I need to figure out more about. And I don't know. I will have to see how much I can find out about it, and what the consequences will be for the main books. At this moment, I do know that that part of magic is not something that will play in the background story. It is something that will play in the main books. So I do have time to figure it out, to do some more research on that, to find out what the gods or deities and goddesses in Tergaenae have to do with that, and how the people perceive that, and how Nejat and Nejat will perceive that, and what they will feel about that. It is very important, especially because it might, if this goes through, if this concept turns out to be the way that I discovered it, if this concept that I discovered, the way that I discovered it, and the way it is as I discovered it, if it turns out like that, it might also have a big influence on later things, later big events in, I think, the last book. I'm not quite sure yet, but I think the last book, or perhaps the one before that. So it is something I need to figure out, but I have time to do that. So I won't be looking at that right now. Fidina, not really. You haven't really made any progress. You are also probably still out of focus. You're just going to use this time to edit. Editing is easier for you than drafting when focus is not at its best. I can totally understand that. Yes, if you, it's what I also find. If I cannot focus, then I find it much harder to write new text, because that is something you need some focus for, and to make sure that your text keeps flowing, that things happen the way they should happen, or the way you discovered them to happen, that you describe it well enough. And if you do not have the focus, or do not have enough focus, you might make mistakes, and then you have a much harder time editing. So I can totally understand that. So let's start some editing, and let's start some writing. Let's see what Nejat and the other dragon companions are about to discover in the forest, and let's see how they feel about it. And also, of course, the villagers and the guards of the village who have come with them, and how they feel about it, and also how they will react to the ancient magic, because that is why the villages have been allowed to come with them, or at least some villages who wanted to, because in Tergaenae, like I told last time, magic chooses the person, and in this case, ancient magic will judge, in a way, the person's character and the person's nature and the person's intent, and accept that person, maybe even support that person, or maybe throw them out. So a lot can happen. And the biggest question of them all, of course, is now, if ancient magic, it has its base in nature. That is at least something I discovered about ancient magic. If it has its base in magic, or in nature, I have to say it correctly, why are animals fleeing from the scene? Predators that are not supposed to have fear unless they meet a bigger predator. Why are they all fleeing? And I mean, it's not like they are following their prey. No, they are displaying fear. So they are afraid of what they encountered. And I know that in some way they encountered ancient magic. So I'll have to see about that. So without further ado, let's start our first word sprint of today. And let's see what we can find out. I wish you all good luck. I will start my clock, which I forgot to set, or the timer I mean. And it is very handy to set a timer, because otherwise we might write for a very long time, which is not handy. So I've set the timer to 25 minutes. So let's see how far we can get. I wish you all good luck in writing, happy writing, and I'll see you in 25 minutes. We have 5 seconds left in the sprint. 2, 1, and that is the sound of the end of our sprint. How did it go for you guys? I managed to write 646 words and discovered a few interesting things about Seamus and Finlay that I didn't quite expect. But it was fun, it's interesting, and it might come into play as well in the future main books. I don't know exactly how yet, but I'll figure it out. Let's just keep it at that one of the small folk has come to the group and sought a bit of contact with the 3 princes. It's a good thing. It didn't seem to hurt either of them or any one of them, so that's good. And well, that's all about I can say about it, because otherwise I will reveal way too much. And at least what I can tell you is that this particular member of the small folk did manage to calm down the flutter nymph that is currently being carried by Nejat. So it's not trembling anymore, and it's still very scared, but at least it's not trembling anymore. And how it will go from there, I don't know yet. Fedina, how did your editing go? Did you manage to get as far into it as you had hoped? And what are the hurdles that you are currently running into with editing? I'm looking forward to hear that from you. I'm glad that my writing is going pretty good. Like I said in previous live streams, I haven't made any outline for this particular background story. This is really something that I am just writing as I go along, and I discover a lot of new things. But it's good. My apologies. There are things that I need to discover, and there are things that I need to research. And that is why writing this background story is so interesting, because I find out more and more. And some things are fun, and some things are interesting, finding out more about the magic, the ancient magic, and the small folk and the flutter nymphs and, well, all of that, also reveals some things that might become complications. Not necessarily complications for me, but complications for the characters. And that is something that I will find out as I go. And it's not only complications for the characters right now in the background story, but there were some elements of what I have discovered so far probably will also have influence on the main books. In this case, like I suspect that the ancient magic is somehow corrupted, and knowing that the dragon companions and the village guards and the other villages are going into that ancient forest, knowing, or at least I suspect it, and I don't know if it is indeed, but I suspect that the ancient magic there is corrupted somehow. And, you know, ancient magic is a very powerful and very old magic. It is a magic that isn't being used by modern mages. So the fact that it is corrupted might suggest that there is a mage at play here in this whole counterfeiting issue. A mage who is pulling the strings. On the other hand, it also might be something else. I don't know, an ancient artifact that is being used by those thugs and that has been somehow, I won't say destroyed, but at least tampered with, causing it to become corrupt. And of course, if that were the case, either one of them, well, no, if it's an ancient artifact that has become corrupt, then at least mages will be able to help out. They will have to contact mages, and the ancient artifact will have to be destroyed if it can't be repaired. If there is actually a mage pulling the strings, there might be a whole different problem than what they originally thought. I mean, originally they didn't even think about the possibility of ancient magic being in play and of ancient magic being corrupted. So there are a lot of things that I still need to discover here and that I need to do research for. So yeah, that will be interesting. Fidina, you had a good time editing. You have a lot done. Even edit some passages. Oh, great! So you did manage to write some new text. Excellent. That's always good if editing goes great. I'm far from editing, so in this, well, my apologies, I don't know what's gotten into me. In this case, in this series, I haven't done any major editing yet. But from my previous work, not as an interior cleaner, obviously, but in other jobs, I have had to write reports and text, and also official text and political text, etc., etc. So I know about editing and how that process works and how tough it can be to write it just as it's supposed to be, or no, not as it's supposed to be, but to write it in such a way that it is perfect the way you want it to be. So if that process goes well, that means a big milestone. So it's great that you that your editing went well. That's great to hear. So are you up for another 25-minute sprint? Because now that writing is going good, and I seem to be in a writing flow at the moment, I'd like to go on to keep on writing, because I still have a lot of writing to do in this background story before I'm done, and I want this background story to be finished before November, because I really need it. I really need it to be finished before November 1st, before I start writing the new version, the third draft, or yeah, technically it's the third draft of my first book. So I really need to get this nailed before November 1st. So I see a lot of writing sessions coming up in October. Besides everything else I'm going to do, and besides, I don't know, normal working, because I still also just have a day job. Well, 6 a.m. to noon, is that still called a day job? I guess technically it is. So yeah, I still have my day job. So besides my day job, and besides making videos and working on my games and such, I also want to keep on writing and finish this background story. Okay, Fedina, you're ready for another one? Let's go, let's get into it. And we are off for another 25 minutes of sprinting. Happy sprinting! that is the end of our second sprint of today. How did it go for you? Fedina, did you have as much as success with your editing and a bit of writing as in the first sprint? I managed to write 566 words. It took me a little bit of time to discover what exactly the small folk member is doing here. But it seems that she might have some sort of the sight, and she at least is there also to protect, in a way at least, the group. So it will be interesting to see how that pans out. Fedina, you think that you'll stop here? Your body is already sore, but hey, even though it's only 1 hour, you're happy with your progress. Small progress is still progress. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right about that. Every word written or edited is progress and makes your story better. So keep on doing that. And if your body is sore, then indeed you'd better stop now, so that you will be able to continue later on this week maybe. Speaking of later on this week, at Friday I will do another live writing session. Same time, same place. So if you are looking to do some more editing in company, you are very welcome to join. And it's 7 p.m. Our usual time, so you're very welcome to join. And for others, if you haven't joined, or I should say, if you would like to be notified about future sprints, please hit the subscribe button below and hit the bell button so that you'll be properly notified. It is my experience that YouTube will not always give proper notifications if you do not set the notification bell properly. So if you'd like to stay up to date about new live streams, then be sure to hit that notification bell. In the meantime, I promised you guys that I would have a brief look at NaNoWriMo. It is a little over a month away, and like I said, coming Sunday, Preptober starts. For those who don't know, who are not familiar with NaNoWriMo, NaNoWriMo is the National Novel Writing Month. We'll make that international. It originally started as a national event back in the USA. If I'm correct, then it was originally a group of friends who challenged each other to write 50,000 words in November, from November 1st till November 30th. And it spread, and now it is a global event, and you will see people from all over the world participating in this event. And it is an absolute challenge because you need to write 1667 words each day. Fedina, awesome. You'll see me Friday. Excellent. And best of luck for the rest of your sessions. Thank you. I see it's already 8:30. Oh wow, it's gone fast. I might do one or two more sessions. I'll have to look at it. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll see how tired I am in about 45 minutes or so, and let's see from there. For those who are, like I said, for those who are not familiar with NaNoWriMo, it's all about writing 50,000 words, originally in a new novel. But I'm a rebel, so I'm a NaNoWriMo rebel, so I don't write a new novel. I just write a new version of my first book. You know, you have the freedom to just do that, so that's okay, and that is also part of the fun. You just keep on writing. There are also lots of people who just continue their book or whatever project they were working on and start counting from November 1st till my apologies, till November 30th. So it just depends on what you want to do. So what is Preptober in relation to NaNoWriMo? Preptober is essentially the prepping month, the preparation month. And this can mean a lot of things. It can be that you need to do world building, or that you want to write your outline so that you will be able to more easily write your story. If you always write a story based on an outline. It can also mean preparation of meals, for example. I mean, besides writing those 50,000 words, you also might have a job or your study. I mean, those are things that just go on. You can't say, well, you know what, November 1st till November 30th, you know, I'm doing nothing. Yeah, that's not how it works. I mean, I have reserved the last week. I discovered I cannot take the last 2 weeks like I normally do. But I have reserved the last week of November, specifically for NaNoWriMo. And that's for my job. I mean, I've taken a holiday for that last week. But for the rest, I need to work. That's 6 hours a day. And I have other things as well. And I have a household to manage. So I need to make sure that I can do all that and also write those words that are necessary. And that is why Preptober comes in handy. Because that is a month in which I will indeed make some preparations. In the past, I only mainly worked on snacks, which is important. I mean, do not get me wrong. It is important to have proper drinks and to have proper snacks, especially if you are writing for a long time. I mean, if you're writing for half an hour, having a drink or two, that's all right. But if you sit down for a whole afternoon or a whole evening or a whole day even, then it is very important to have drinks, to have something to snack, to have something to eat, to make sure that you can keep on going. And in this case, I think I told you guys about that in the earlier live streams. I will make apple pie cupcakes, so the small apple pies. The easy thing about that is I can simply store them in the freezer and have one each day, because I think I can make enough for each day. So that will be a nice treat when I have reached my word count or when I have reached any other milestone I wanted to reach. I think I will also make some health bars, and I make them myself instead of buying, because that way I can use pumpkin seeds and pine seeds, or pine nuts they are officially called, melon seeds, what did I put in it anymore, something else, can't remember what. It's a mix of seeds and some honey or brown sugar, palm sugar, sorry. I'm not quite sure which of the two I'll be using, maybe a combination, and make health bars with them because they are really filling and they are healthy, because I mean it's all healthy, so that's a good thing. And for the first time, I think, because earlier editions of NaNoWriMo, I always thought about meal prepping, but I never actually did. And this time I do want to do that. So I've been looking at some easy recipes. I mean, I'm not one for macaroni and cheese. I hate that. So let me just, no, that's not gonna happen. But I'm more for the Asian foods, Asian dishes, I have to say, properly say. And although I have already decided to have 2 visits to restaurants for reaching 2 milestones. One's 25k and one's 50k. So yeah, one is going to be a visit to a restaurant, hopefully with a friend of mine, and the other one is either going to the restaurant or take out at that restaurant. So I'm not quite sure yet. It will also depend on what I'm in the mood for, how much time I have left, and if I have several days left for NaNoWriMo. Another thing I'm going to do is make probably some more chicken, because that is excellent to have. All I need to do is add some rice, perhaps some easy fruit salads, tinned fruit salad, and or canned fruit salad, I mean, and I'll have a meal or two. I will make lumpers. That's also an Indonesian dish, but it's more like a snack. But that's rice with, in this case, a chicken filling. So again, it's not a, or at least I don't see it like that. It's not a snack like chips or chocolate or things like that. In a way, it's still healthy because it's rice and it's chicken. So. But it is a snack. I mean, it's not a dinner, it's not a full lunch, but it is a snack. So that's it's a snack, but it's a healthy snack. And I might make, or ask my brother to make, I don't know yet. It's called worstenbroodjes in Dutch. Let me see how I can translate that to English, if there's a proper translation for that. I have to be honest, it is a pretty local snack in here in the Netherlands. It's not even something that you can buy, that you can usually buy in towns outside of the province where I live. So it's really a local thing. It's, yeah, sausage rolls. That's not quite it. It's how do I say that? Yeah, it's minced meat in bread, in a package of bread. That's the easiest way to describe it. And everyone makes it, those who make it for their own recipe, based on their own recipe. And here in the south, you can easily buy them in the shops and at the bakeries, or the supermarket and the bakeries. But when you go up further north, and you don't have to go way up north, but just a little, then you will see that bakeries and supermarkets don't have them, because it's really a local thing. So I might make that as well. Kind of depending on how much time I have left and how it all goes, because it's not always easy to make. But it's certainly something I want to try this month, coming month. Again, it's not a dinner, so I really need to think about dinner plans. So that is something I haven't set up yet properly. Sure, I have s'more chicken, some nasi goreng. I'll definitely have that as well. I'll probably prepare some of those, or rather, the s'more chicken I will prepare in October. I will prepare the nasi goreng in October. For the rest, I don't know yet. I might also make some pulled chicken to have with a simple bread, or pulled pork. I might even buy pulled pork from our favorite butcher, because with those I can simply warm them up and get some canned vegetables and some bread, and then I have a meal, then I have a dinner or lunch, just depending on what I'm looking for. And in that way, at least save me some time to have a proper dinner, but also to keep on writing and things like that. So I haven't completely thought out my meal plan yet. That is also something I will have to do during October, and at least make several meals in October. Ideally, I will have at least 2 meals prepped per week for November. So that will be 2 days that I don't have to cook, or don't have to cook for a long time, and still have a healthy, decent meal. How that will turn out, I have no idea, but I am going to use Preptober for that. Fedina, true, meals are so key to write sustainably. Yes, you are right. It's really, it can really help you to keep on going, and that is important when you are writing, always, that at first, but also when you are writing like you are during NaNoWriMo, because that takes focus and it takes a different approach in writing than what people might normally do. If I look at myself, for example, I just sit down and I start to write, not necessarily with a certain amount of words in my head that I want to finish. But for NaNoWriMo, you do need to be able to get those 50,000 words. You need to be able to write, and of course you can all cram it in the last week. I have done that in the past, but that's not easy. That's believe me, that's not an easy thing to do. So for this year, I hope to adopt the reverse NaNoWriMo technique and write a lot in the first week, and in the second week, so that in the weeks after that, I don't have to write anymore. I don't have to write so much anymore. But yeah, it's a real challenge, and if you partake in such a challenge, it is important to make sure that you have the things that can support you to reach that challenge. And things are not only having an outline, but also making sure that you have enough drinks, enough snacks, enough food. Food is in lunch, breakfast, dinner. So those are all things that are important. One of the other things I might also make are egg muffins. I once saw a video tutorial about that on YouTube. I just can't find it anymore. It's basically eggs with some kind of filling that you make in the that you bake in the oven, and you put it in a cupcake form. And apparently you can freeze it, so I'd like to try it out because it's also healthy, and by adding in some extra vegetables or some meat like chicken or some other meat, then you also have a filling lunch or something, and you can still go on. So that is something I'd like to try as well. I write on a laptop, so I don't necessarily need writing utensils like pens and paper. I do make sure to have them as a backup. I mean, you never know what happens. I mean, I might spill my drink on my laptop and have a fried laptop. So, I mean, I have no idea. So that is why I make sure that I have a backup in with a stack of paper and pencils. I do realize that once I need to start doing that, the chances of me getting to that 50k are diminishing, because I write a lot faster on my laptop than with pen and paper, because I don't write that fast when I have to handwrite. So I really, really hope that my laptop just keeps on going. So far it has never given me problems, so I really hope that it keeps on going. One important thing to remember is to make sure that you have the latest version of your word processing program. In my case, I use Scrivener because I find it ideal not only for writing but also for keeping all my world building notes and for keeping my research notes, which are vital for me. So I need to make sure that it is up to date and that it functions properly. So if you are using Scrivener or any other word processing program, make sure it's up to date. And if you can, see if you can have a spot in your house or somewhere else where you can just sit and write, preferably not disturbed by anyone until you are done writing. And disturbing means not necessarily that there are a lot of people around you, because I know that it can actually help to have a lot of people around you for some people. I have had sessions in a bookstore. I don't know if we will have that this year. We've had it before COVID. We would gather in April and in November and do weekly writing sessions in a bookstore near my hometown. And it was fun to sit there and chat with everyone and also to keep on writing. We just vibed off each other, so that is great. I don't know if we will do that this year. I have no idea yet. I haven't looked into that. But make sure to look into that, because it can be a lot of fun. But like I said, it doesn't mean looking for a place where you won't be disturbed doesn't mean that there cannot be any people around you. But make sure that you can write the way you want to write. If it is for you the handiest to have a lot of people around you, because that is a noise, a cancelling noise, so to speak, and that works for you, then look for those locations where you can do that. If you need music make sure that you have access to music that helps you write. If you are in a public place, make sure to get earplugs or headphones so that you can listen to your music without disturbing others. If you need it to be all quiet around you, you might have a better time in a library or just at home. I mean, in my case, I'm at home, and when I'm writing, I have nothing else, no one else around me, and that works for me. In the past, I also used writing music, but at the moment, I find that I cannot quite handle that yet due to COVID. I have post-COVID. I'm still not, or long COVID, to say properly, and I still haven't recovered from it fully yet. And having also writing music around me is sometimes it's good, but most of the times it's too much, because it's too many signals coming in, and that doesn't work for me at the moment. Who knows, maybe in the future it will work again, because it was also in the past it was also very very fun to write with music. So who knows, maybe I can do that again in the future. So that's all I have to say at the moment for NaNoWriMo for Preptober. It's a work in progress, and I dare say that it takes in as much attention and preparation as NaNoWriMo itself does. So although it can be a lot of fun, keep that in mind, that also your preparations need time and need attention, so that you can, as a result, have a better time writing during NaNoWriMo. So that's all about NaNoWriMo. That's all I have to say about it right now. I have to be honest and say that I don't expect that I will reach those 2.5k words anymore today, because I noticed that I'm getting tired. So I'm going to do one more word sprint, and then I'm going to call it a day, because I'm just simply too tired. It also means that I probably still won't discover those thugs, but at least I have more information now, due to that one member of the small folk turning up and giving Nejat and his team members, or the other dragon companions, I have to say, more information. I don't know what the result of it will be. She also gave him some surprising info that had absolutely nothing to do with all the counterfeit issue, or with the whole counterfeit issue and the thugs he's going to meet. So that will be interesting, and let's just say it's foreshadowing for the rest of the background story and possibly the later main books, but that's something I'll have to see. I don't know yet, but it can be excellent foreshadowing for that. So I'm going to do one more word sprint, 25 minutes, and that will be the last of today, because I find that I'm simply too tired to do another one after that. So without further ado, let's do one more word sprint of 25 minutes, and I wish you all happy writing and editing. If you are editing, have fun, and I'll see you in 25 minutes. And that's the end of our last sprint of today. I hope you all did wonderful. I managed to write 577 words. I had some discussions going on between Nejat and his companion. I cannot tell you the outcome of those discussions because that might give away too much, so I haven't been given the approval to tell you guys about that. There is one tiny thing I can tell you about, and that is that I discovered that the dragon companions have lighting amber stones. And those amber stones have a spell on them or in them. I have to figure out, I have to do some more research on those amber stones to see how it is connected, how those are connected to the spells, or how the spells are connected to the amber stones. And if they, or when they activate the spell on it, they, the stones will release, temporarily at least, a flying light. And in surroundings that become darker by the minutes, but by the meter they progress. A flying light can of course be very helpful. So I had no idea the dragon companions would have that. So I'm glad they do, because it will help them, I hope, at least. That's something I will have to discover later on. I will see in future sessions. So, like I said earlier, they haven't met the thugs yet. But they are starting to feel the impact of the ancient magic, of the corrupted ancient magic. I'm starting to see the first symptoms of that. So how that will progress, I don't know. I will have to see later on. And how this will affect the group and the dragons is something I will have to discuss later on as well. It's been an interesting evening of writing. I have discovered several new things. It's fun when you discover things like that, and especially when you don't expect dragon companions to have such tools. I mean, it's not a big stone, it's just it will fit perfectly in the palm of your hand. And I mean, it's not heavily imbued with magic, but it has enough magic to temporarily release that light. And after some time, I don't know yet how long, after some time the light will return into the amber stone. And the amber stone will become dull again until the magic is, or until the spell is reactivated again. I have no idea how exactly the magic is refilled in that amber stone. So it is very well possible that once the stone has been used, the magic has been depleted and it needs to be refilled. So I have no idea how long they can use the amber stone, the lighting stones. That's something I will have to discover. But it's interesting. It's a good tool to have for a dragon rider, dragon companion. I have to get used to that. At some point, I discovered that they are not dragon, or rather that a dragon rider is not the correct term. It's a dragon companion, because they do not simply ride a dragon. They have a much deeper bond with the dragons. They can communicate with the dragons. It is is infinitely bigger and more impactful than simply riding on the back of a dragon. So that is why they are the companions and not the dragon riders. But short recap. Apparently the small folk are willing to protect this group. And I have to say that I am kind of confused about that, because 2 of the small folk have been captured by these thugs. Now, if they are captured by these thugs, how is it that the rest of the small folk cannot simply set them free? I mean, they are apparently able to protect this group of dragon companions and village guards and villages. So why wouldn't they be able to set their own people free? Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be able to rescue the flutter nymphs on their own? I really haven't got a clue. So it will be interesting to find out, which I will do in a next session. It might be that I will write later on during the week if the progression of my video goes smoothly. But otherwise, I will continue working on this Friday. Friday from 7 p.m. Amsterdam time. And I'll see how far I can get Friday. It's going to be interesting. See you Friday.